Hello and welcome to the Gain Line, Wales Online's daily rugby debate show on Facebook. I'm Ben James. I'm joined by some very special guests today. Simon Thomas, as always, and another guest. We've got a guest coming out of our ears this week, haven't we? It's former Wales international Ben Evans.
Well,
How you doing, Ben?
I will warn you, we're going to have to do a lot of talking because he's a very shy, retiring guy. And we're going to have to really try hard to get him to say anything. So I know you're nervous.
I just got to the fact that he called me special. Because there's two types of special, isn't there? There's special, and there's like really special.
You're special.
Yeah, we'll have to coax something out of you. Obviously, if you want to help us, you can get some questions in the comments below. But it's a busy day today because obviously we've got two team announcements. Wales have announced their team. Italy's coming up in about an hour's time. So let's start with the Wales team. A few surprises in there, certainly for us.
We've just gone through it now. What stands out for you, interests you in that team selection for Wales?
Good to see that front row sorted.
So it's Dylan Lewis.
Dylan deserves it. You know, I know he had that hamstring injury. I was lucky enough to go down to the Blues training ground a couple of weeks ago, and do you know what? The Blues medical staff have done wonders there, to be honest. Yeah. It was just an innocuous kind of tackling jackal drill that he was doing with the head of defence down there, Richard Hodges. And he tore his hamstring, and they were looking at 10 to 12 weeks, and they got him back in 5 to 6. So all credit to the Cardiff Blues medical staff. Great to see him there, but I genuinely rate him.
Yeah,
I think he's a bit of a nugget.
As a one tighted to another.
With regards to strengths, you compare him to someone like me back in the day. His strengths, eclipse what I had. I had a few strengths, but I think he's good across the park. I think he can carry the ball. He's good defensively. Yeah. Good over the ball, and his bread and butter game, as myself and Garen Jenkins would be those kind of aficionados of. His tight game is really, really good.
Yeah. What do you make of them? A lot of talk about the centre position. They've gone for George North. Normally we see him on the wing. What do you think of that selection, George at 13?
It's a safe bet, isn't it? But George is a threat whenever he gets the ball in his hands, and you just got to go. That's the next best option. If you haven't got another recognised centre, do you go a bit risky? No, but they've gone quite steady. But it's good to see. There's a young centre from Saracens,
Nick Tompkins.
Tompkins, yeah, he'll be on a bench. I reckon he'll definitely get some game time.
Yeah,
100%. Whether George bounces out to the wing at some point or they jiggle, and I think that'll come down to that 50 or 60 mark. How's the game unfolding? But you've got great options on the bench. But I think putting George there, he's a threat. He's good with the ball in the hand, so he can distribute. But he's going to be a threat. And they're going to mix it up. But he's going to come in a little bit Jamie Roberts style, and he's going to threaten the game line.
Because that's obviously, this is a topic that's getting quite a response in the comments. Some people are getting quite angry. Bill James, no relation, I'd like to stress. Can someone please tell me why the hell is George North playing in the centre when you have a proper centre whose stats tell you he is among the best in the English Premiership sitting on the bench? I mean,
my take on him maybe is because Tompkins is new in the squad, and because he's based in England, which means he's had to go back a fair bit during the build-up. He hasn't been there for all the squad sessions, so maybe that's counted against him slightly. And as Ben says, he'll probably have half an hour coming on against Italy, and then you'll see how it goes. Where do you stand on George North?
Oh, no, I rate him. Yeah. Jesus, but come on, this young fella.
Try not to tackle him.
No, you don't tackle him. You'd rather cuddle him than tackle him. But my big thing with Tompkins is, come on, he got named in the squad. How long have they been together? 2 weeks?
And he's only been there for maybe 5 sessions maximum.
100%. Back in the day, we'd say he's been here not even a strawberry season. No, you would. That's what you'd say. And you say, on the bench, you're going to get a crack, and then you have an opportunity to make that jersey yours.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that Tompkins? Is that his uncle? Or something. Why is my nephew on the bench? Come on, mate.
I'm not sure if it is, but I'm pretty sure he'll be writing in now.
Yeah, he will.
As I said, shy and retiring. Now the viewers will remember Ben playing for Wales in the late 90s, early noughties, but some people might not realise your home now is Australia, and you're over for a break, but you still keep in touch and follow Welsh rugby?
I do. There's actually one of the Sky equivalent over there is Foxtel. Yeah. Not wanting to bore you, but there's one of the stations there you can pick up. You get like the rugby roundup, so you get all of the the Celtic League games, and And it's great. So I can record that, watch it whenever I want. So I do try to keep a touch on it. And obviously Richard Hodges, who's one of my best mates, he's one of the the defensive coach at the Blues. Yeah. So I get all of that. I get the lowdown then, and I am passionate about Welsh rugby. Yeah.
I never guessed that.
Oh, but isn't it true? It's the life cycle of a professional rugby player. You start off as a boy, and then you grow, you play rugby, then you want to play for Wales, and it's all about playing for Wales. And if you're lucky enough, and you get those opportunities, you play for Wales. And then you're out of the squad maybe, and then you're bitter and twisted. You might be back in the squad, and then lo and behold, there's the glorious slippery slope, where maybe for a couple of years you're really bitter and twisted, and but then you come out the other side, and you're back where you started. You're back to being a rugby fan again, and I am. I'm a huge fan of the Welsh team, and it's great to see the success that they've had since I got dropped.
While we're on the topic of you living in Australia, we've got a question from Graham Piper, who would like to ask, while you're living in Australia, how is the Six Nations Championship viewed down there as a tournament?
Yeah, it's well respected. It is, and I think for the rugby purists, it's something that's very much watched. Yeah. I think it would be up there because, let's just say it as it is, the Super Rugby tournament, with the Waratahs and that, the gloss has gone off that. Yeah. I watched the most recent final was at the Crusaders ground, where obviously they came top of the comp, and it wasn't even a full stadium. Down in Christ, it wasn't even full, and I'm good friends with Andy Marinos, who's kind of the CEO of the Sanzar Rugby, and I've had loads of good chats with him about how do they remarket it, how do they shape it, how do they make it sexy again. Because it has lost its edge a bit, and I think you then look at the old Tri-Nations as it was, the way, with obviously got Argentina in there now, and Argentina are coming good, I think. But the big thing that I really wanted to see is Argentina have come in and added some serious value. They've embraced joining that tournament, and dare I say it, because I do love Italian rugby, and I've got lots of Italian friends, do I feel that Italy have embraced the Six Nations as wholeheartedly and passionately as what Argentina have?
Well, the key thing, of course, one of the big reasons why you're on this week, where you're very grateful you're coming in, is you know all about Italian rugby.
So you're getting me back on page now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am getting you back on page. Italian rugby, you had 3 years out there. This is who Wales are playing this weekend now. Give us a little bit of the insight, having played out there, lived out there, what rugby means in Italy, and what the nature of an Italian rugby player is.
They love it. I think that rugby out there would be a little bit like Wales was probably in the 70s. It's a working man's sport. Your footballers are the superstars, the big names, but your rugby players are quite touchable. They're quite real. They're the guy down the road, and you've got some fantastic rugby clubs. And I was lucky enough to play at Calvisano, Grand Palma for 2 years, but then it evolved and it changed, and a little bit like Welsh rugby. You had all these wonderful rugby clubs. There were 2 rugby clubs down in Rome, L'Aquila, clubs all over the country. And Italy's a pretty big country, but then it kind of went regional, didn't it? You had Ironi that became
Ironi means
zebra.
What does Ironi mean?
The heron. The heron, it's that bird that really strikes fear. Strikes fear into it. Ah! Oh, it's a heron. Who are we playing today? The herons. Ah! No, but L'Aquila and things like that, that's the eagle. Exactly. That's a bit more, I'll peck your eyes out. Do you know what I mean? But the heron doesn't strike fear to me. But going back to the club structure used to be amazing. But I get why, the clubs, they weren't competitive. So they tried to do what they did regionally over here. They tried to make a couple of super teams. They should have put one in Rome. Yeah. They should have, because that's where Italy play. They've got the money. They should have put one there, one in the south and one in the north, and then you keep because it's a huge divide. But the moment you've got 2 teams that are virtually an hour and a half away from each other, and no team down in Rome, it's a little bit like having the Millennium Stadium in North Wales. It serves no sense because you've got no professional, big teams.
In the sense of where Rome is compared to the heartland of rugby.
Correct.
So they should have had a team there. What about the players that Welsh fans should watch out for in the Italian team this weekend? You know a few of those boys. I'm going to play with a few of them. Zani's
still going. I got a lot of time for Zani, and I think we scribbled down earlier. We had a look at the Calvisano team that I played in, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. A third of the Italian team. We scribbled it down, didn't we? There was Luke McLean, Paul Griffin, Zani, still playing, Leo Geraldini, Garcia Gonzalez.
Strong team. Yeah.
Mate, a third of the team, the starting team, were Calvisano boys. And do you know what? We were never competitive in the when I was there. In the European Cup, we played European Cup that year, and I remember we drew Cardiff Blues.
Yeah.
And they were tough games, and we played Biarritz and Gloucester. But there were two of those games, Gloucester and Biarritz at home. We were in those games. Mm. But that is a little bit indicative of Italian rugby and the inconsistency, Simon.
Yeah.
And that's probably the Achilles heel of Italian rugby. What did the Zebras do the other week? And that's another animal, isn't it? That strikes fear in you. The zebra. I can't do zebra.
What noise is that?
I can't do zebra noises. I can't do zebra noises. No, but they went over to Stade Francais.
Yes, that's right.
And they beat Stade Francais.
Last minute equalising try from Stade.
Jesus, and that would mean so much to them.
I think they're providing the bulk of the Italian team. I think Zebra, and obviously Benetton as well. Franco Smith now there as the new coach.
So this could be the trump card. Like I played against him when he played. Yeah, that's it. And I respect him. I thought he was a strong, steady player. Like no messing around. He was a good workman, and he had that work ethic. It was very much as that. Doesn't say a lot, but I think he demands a lot, probably as a coach. Yeah. And he's had some really good successes as a coach. Mm. And I think because he's coached in Italy before, he knows the Italians. Yeah. He knows the way they work. He knows the way they
fluent, isn't he? He's fluent Italian.
Yeah. Mate, I'm the same. I was one of those ones. When you've got someone like Franco who goes over there, embraces the culture, and knows Italian, and the guys will respect him for that. Like fair play to Conor O'Shea. I spoke to Conor before he went, and it was just a chance meeting, and he said, "No, do you know what, Ben? I'm having Italian lessons already. We're going over with the family. They're all going to speak Italian, and I'm going to make it work." And that's great. Yeah. But having coached, at club level, I think Franco's got a bit more of an inside track. And this is why I said to you guys earlier, I got no axe to grind with Rob Howley. Mm. But do I look at the dynamic of knowing that, what Rob has done? He's had his successes as an interim head coach, and I played with Rob, but then I also feel like I really know Italian rugby well.
Of course, Rob was linked before. Yeah,
correct. He was into
the betting breach story with the Italian job. Yeah.
That's right, and I think maybe, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not bagging either party. I think maybe they both dodged a bullet because I don't feel that would have been the right cultural fit.
Not the right fit.
Yeah, the right cultural fit, and it's nothing to do with Rob. Mm. And it's nothing to do with you just got to get the right fit. And I hope for Franco that he goes well. Because I think they need someone like that. They need a taskmaster because discipline. The discipline with the Italian rugby team has been their Achilles heel. Yeah. For so long, and the games that they are in, and it's close, and you're going, geez, they could win it. And all of a sudden they implode. Yeah. Stupid penalties, offside, or a yellow card, 2 yellow cards even.
Because you hope this is where it kicks on. Because obviously Conor O'Shea's been there for a number of years now, and Italy haven't won a Six Nations game since 2015. But it always exactly. But
good start.
So Conor O'Shea never won a Six Nations game, but the sense was always that he was building things behind the scenes that maybe the next coach would benefit from. So hopefully now we see that with Franco Smith.
I guess so. Interesting to watch him.
That was a little bit. I got to give credit where credit is due, and I didn't always see eye to him. But that was Steve Hansen. Yeah. Like Steve Hansen, statistically, in his Welsh reign, was poor. One of the worst, right? Yeah. Statistically. But a lot of people, if you speak to any of the Welsh internationals, probably from around the time that I was there, and the other guys, what he did change is a lot of stuff off. Mm. So, those next coaches that came in were probably more well-equipped. And I think he did make a lot of changes, and he challenged the culture, which was good. And he challenged me as a player. But I think Steve's successes were off the field, and maybe that's where Conor O'Shea has had some successes, changing the dynamic of it a little bit. But there's the assistant coach, Chicho, that he's a good friend of mine, and he's been a consistent factor throughout the setup. And I remember catching up with him when they toured Italy, when Italy toured in Australia 2 years ago, and I caught up with him, and he said that was one of their biggest frustrations, is they feel they've got the quality to be competitive. Yep. He wasn't talking about winning the Six Nations, but to be more competitive. But he just said, God, we undo ourselves sometimes. They undo themselves.
On most times. Now, the readers and listeners will see that Ben has gone into full flow now, and we met in Caerphilly just before around Christmas time to do a piece on your rugby life. I think I asked 2 questions in 2 hours.
No. Well, I paid for the coffee.
You did pay for the coffee.
So I was entitled to, a bit more freedom.
We had a great response in seriousness to that. And there was one thing you said in that which has stuck with me. When you said, and I loved the quote, you said that you've got a rugby ball-shaped heart. And it was clear to me how much this game of rugby has meant to you as a player and as a coach. Can you just talk a little bit about that, about what rugby has given to you in your life?
Gonna get me all emotional. No, I think it's, regardless, I think when I went to university, the game wasn't even professional. But I still had the same desire and ambition to play for Wales, and I still would have. I think I had eyes on being a teacher, PE teacher. And it was just Wales. But then obviously the game went professional, and then in my last year of uni, as it just all unfolded, and all of a sudden there was all this money, and then it was finished uni, went to Neath, and then that's all I've ever known. It's all I've ever known, and it was all I was ever really focused on. And then I looked through my whole career of all of those wonderful things that the rugby has given me. You think of friends and memories, and it's taken me all over the world, and it's provided me with a living. It was my job for nearly 20 years. But then I felt a duty of care to the rugby fraternity to give something back. And that's what I've done. And I think in no truer case would be, from when I went to Australia, and I literally got off the plane on a Tuesday morning, and that evening I went to training with Waverley Rugby Club in Bondi, and I was player coach, and for 3 consecutive years, we got promotion. We got promoted, and we went back up into what's called the Kentwell Cup in the amateur leagues in Sydney, and it was awesome. But I'd never played amateur rugby. That was my first taste of amateur rugby. But then it was then on, to Parramatta 2 Blues, helping up there and helping other rugby clubs. I just did stuff. I never wanted money for it. I just said, give me a T-shirt. Yeah. I love kit. all my mates who know me, I got so much kit. No, but I'd have kit. I've got stuff from Waverley and Petersham Rugby Club and Parramatta. And I'd help out in some of the schools, St. Pius, up in kind of North Sydney, where Michael Hooper's from. I helped out at his school, and I was more than happy to help. And then there was the opportunity to help out with the Waratahs under-20s, under-18s. And last year, the Waratahs women's team. Oh, right. And, a genuine big shout out to them. There's a fantastic group of women there who are almost given a full-time kind of professional commitment, sort of 3 or 4 nights a week, to weight training, conditioning and rugby, with the help of a good mate of mine, Campbell Aitken, a Scottish guy. He played professional rugby as well. And they've got a big campaign coming up, the big Super W competition. But that was about giving.
Giving back.
Giving back, 100%. And I thought, that was just a big passion. It still is a big passion of mine. I struggle to say no to someone when someone comes down and said, my under-8s need a scrummaging session.
I was going to say, that's why you're here now.
Yeah, can you come and do a scrummaging session? Oh, all right, I'm there.
I'm amazed you haven't got Ben in a scrimmage.
Get our tops off.
So are you going on Saturday? How long are you back until now? What's the latest
I've got another
plan?
10 days.
All right.
I've got another 10 days, and my wife is going to kill me for saying this.
Oh dear.
But in my heart, there is something, that's very much drawing me back to Wales. I think it's just only natural. I think, we had, I was telling you, wasn't it, about our baby daughter, Ivy, and just seeing her around the family is just amazing. And it's great being around all of our family. We've got on both sides, on my wife's side and my side of the family. It's a really good dynamic there, and it's there to be considered, and just see how we go. But Sydney's a great place, but it's the draw of being home, isn't it?
And is everything okay with the property? Obviously, with the bushfires out there.
Yeah,
Serious
we spoke about that, didn't we? I think in a straight line, I think it was an hour away.
Oh, goodness me.
It was an hour away, but the big thing was the smoke, the pollution, these orangey red skies, you could taste it.
You said it was like Mad Max, didn't you?
Yeah, very apocalyptic. It was, and it was hot.
Yeah.
The visibility was bad. The few days before we came back, my wife and daughter were locked in the house,
Oh dear.
under lock and key, but for their own benefit.
You don't get many bushfires in Caerphilly, do you?
No, you don't. But I do remember as a kid, on top of Caerphilly Mountain, some idiot set Caerphilly Mountain on fire. On my life, this is the God's honest truth, in the mid-80s. We all wake up, this is the God's honest truth. If there's anyone from Caerphilly watching this, they can testify for this. I remember being a kid and waking up and looking out the house and going, Mum, the mountain's on fire. And it was the whole of Caerphilly Mountain, and then the fire brigade are out, and as kids we went up to help the firemen drag the hose pipes. So you joke about that, but Caerphilly, anyone who lived in Caerphilly in the 80s will remember Caerphilly Mountain being on fire. This is God's honest truth.
There we go.
Ben Evans is back.
So we'll finish with one question. So Jeff Moss asks, you've played under a few Welsh coaches in your international career. Who was the best?
Ooh.
Graham Henry. Graham Henry, 100%. He was another one. He was a change man. He came in and, Wales had been languishing in the doldrums for a long, long time, and he just came in. It was literally like taking that plaster off, the septic wound, clean it all out. Let's pick some good men that are good at some specific things. Like Craig Quinnell, Scott Quinnell, Chris Wyatt, boys like that, who are good at carrying the ball. And then let's pick a really good set-piece outfit, and then some backs that can distribute, and you had boys that could kick. Yeah. So it had to be Graham Henry for me. You got loads of questions.
What did he tell you to do? Just scrummage, wasn't it?
The scrum. That's your baby. That's what he used to say to me and Garen. It's the scrum. Benny, Garen, Peter, it's your baby. And I used to go, I'm all right with that. You got loads of questions. These guys aren't going to be happy if you don't read.
I got a few, but we've also got a note from the boss saying we need to wrap up because you're blocking people in the car.
Am I? I did block someone in Fiesta. I did block someone in.
There's a Wales press conference to go. I think you're blocking.
Wouldn't it be funny if this got more hits than the Welsh press conference? That'd be sensational.
It may well do. I think we'll have to leave it for
really?
today.
It's just a quick prediction. I say Wales to win by 20 points.
Really? 20? Oh, it's going to be more than that. It's going to be more than that. And I wish...
I thought you meant the other way. I thought you were offended by that. The Italians.
No. It'll be close. The first half, I think, will be quite close. The Italian boys will be really, really passionate. And I think they'll just run away with it. Minimum 30 points. So if anyone's going to the bookies... No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying anyone in particular. I'm saying if anyone's going to the bookies... You need to go Wales minus 30.
Right.
There we go.
That's what I think.
On that bombshell.
on that note, I think that's it for today's game. I'm sure they'll keep talking, but the cameras will stop rolling. But as always, you can catch all the latest on Wales.